very good evening to all of you. Welcome back to another episode of Beer Pe Charcha with iQuanta toppers. Today we have with us a disciplined boy, the son of an office superintendent, hailing from a quintessential Indian household in Samastipur, Bihar, who despite being from a small town had big dreams and ensured that with his consistency and confidence was able to conquer those dreams. He has gone ahead and scored 99.76 in this year's CAT edition. Please welcome Mayank. Hi Mayank, अपने बारे में कुछ बताइए.
So I am basically from Samastipur, Bihar. Did my schooling in Bihar till 10th, and then class 11, 12 Delhi, and then BTech from Jadavpur University, Kolkata, and then after that I have been working at Samsung Bangalore from July 2018.
That's great. So Mayank, can you tell our viewers your CAT overall and sections?
My overall score was 99.76 percentile. In BARC it was 99.54. In DILR it was 94.89, and in Quants it was 99.67 percentile.
That's wonderful. Getting 99.76, I'm sure a lot of strategy, tactics, etc. went into it, right? So how much time did you take to prepare this, for this examination?
Actually, basically, this was my second attempt. In first attempt, I scored 98.9, and so my basics were clear. This time, I had to. So I started here this time in March. First of all, I brushed up my basics, and then I started taking mocks.
We understand that you've scored 99.76 now, so I'm sure you had, set out a strategy in mind right from the start.
Yeah.
Could you let our viewers know what do you think is an optimum time for an average student to prepare?
For an average student, I think 10 to 12 months are enough.
Okay.
So in those 10 to 12 months, first 4 or 5 months should be dedicated for brushing of the basics, and then the rest of the time it should be totally mocks, all in for mocks.
Okay.
Yeah. Mocks and their analysis. And I would also like to emphasize upon the point that even if someone has solved any question, he should look out for another solutions. He may get some shorter method for that.
Okay, a very important piece of information here. Especially for topics like quant, there are several ways of solving a question, right? It is up to you to find the quickest solution because time is of essence, right? During this entire journey, Mayank, what was your toughest challenge that you had to overcome?
So basically there were 2 points actually for me. First of all was when this pandemic started and the lockdown. Because of some reasons I couldn't leave my workplace. So I was locked up in my flat for 4 months alone. So at that time I was working, I was cooking, I was preparing for CAT, and also doing some physical activities.
Wow.
So and then the pattern changed. And the very first mock that I attempted in the new pattern, I scored just 81 percentile. So I felt like my whole world came shattering down. So and then there was no other option. I had to continue my preparation. So very next day, I again started studying and I again started taking mocks. And gradually, not all of a sudden, gradually my percentiles increased.
See, this is not an overnight phenomenon. This is not a victory that he has achieved overnight. He started from 81 with the new pattern and he's made it all the way to 99.76. What was your strategy for every section?
For every section, BARC. So I will start with BARC. So for BARC, I was predetermined that I will solve all the questions. So for BARC section for me was like a perfect lap for 10 miles. Yeah. So when it was when I will get some easier RC or easier questions, it will be a straight road. I just have to speed down, and when there will be a tough passage, it was just turns and bends. So I had to take some time, slow down, and then solve the questions. So VARC section for me was perfect miles by 10 miles at Le Mans. So when the questions are easy, RC is easy to read, it was like a straight road. Go at full speed. But when RC was tough, or the questions were tough, it was bends and turns that I have to slow down, read it carefully, and then solve the questions. And the best strategy for solving an RC is by option eliminations. So for this, students can go through Akash's videos to see how he eliminates the options. And for para jumbles, again, it is making mandatory pairs. So that was for VARC. And then TILR. So TILR needs lots of practice. So first of all, one has to be solved lots and lots of stuffs. They can like get more than 200 sets at iQuanta portal. So yeah, being similar through patterns and that, it is easier to. So sometimes some sets may appear unseen, so you have to take some time, understand that, and then solve it. But yeah, first to do in DILR is go through to all the sets so that you can decide which sets you are able to understand and then solve them. So this is the section where you have to maintain your composure. There is no other way to do it. And then in quants, was like again a quarter mile race by Dominic Toretto for me. So you have to go full speed, go through solving like however number of questions you can solve. Again, but here there should be rounds. First of all, first round should be with easier questions, and second round should be for a bit tough, and third round was like should be for the questions for which you don't get the logic, and then But yeah, like in my experience, I barely was able to complete second round.
Okay, this is a beautiful answer given by Mayank here. He's spoken about a layered approach in answering quant, like peeling the onion. Make sure that the ones that you answer them in the first go. The second ones are ones where you take a little bit of time, and the third is the one that's the most difficult one. Please ensure that the only way that this is possible is by going through all the questions. Right?
Yeah, and one thing I missed, right? So, for quants, again, shortcuts are most important. So those shortcuts are going to save your time, are going to help you attempt more number of questions. And in the research shortcuts help me a lot in improving my number of attempts and also the accuracy.
That's wonderful. So this year, as you mentioned, there was a change in pattern.
Yeah.
Right. And आपको थोड़ा डामाडोल हो गया था आपका स्कोर भी उस समय. Tell us, since you were a student with iQuanta as well, how did that help you traverse through the difficult stages when the pattern was just changed, the mocks that were given to you?
So when the pattern changed, it was not a drastic change, just the time was reduced and number of questions were reduced. So one has to stick to fundamentals. That was enough. And iQuanta at this time was the first to provide updated mocks. So yeah, I was able to take mocks, and that gave me confidence. Right, so I was able to solve the questions, and over the time I got more number of mocks, and that's how my score got again like to 99 percentile range.
That's great, And can you tell us, you've given 2 attempts, right?
Yeah.
आपके strategy में क्या अंतर था इन दोनों attempts में? And क्या मिला आपको इस attempt में जो आपके पास पिछले attempt में नहीं था, which helped you accelerate?
So इसकी 2 चीजें थी. पहली चीज थी RCs कैसे सॉल्व करते हैं. सो पहले मैं ये देखता था कि which was the best option, and this time I was eliminating the wrong ones. So in my experience, I see that elimination is the best approach. And second thing was shortcuts. So again, that helped me increase my accuracy and number of attempts. And third and most important thing was consistency and rigorous practice that helped from iQuanta and the peer group there, and most important, the moderators. They came with innovative approaches like iQuanta 250 at the last time, and similar LRDI 70, which maintained me on track.
So iQuanta 250 and LRDI 70. So these are some of the very few of many features that iQuanta offers to its students that helps them accelerate during this entire journey. So बहुत सारे features हैं, right, iQuanta के. What was the one that really stood out? आपके हिसाब से सबसे ज्यादा convenience मिली आपको, या आपके हिसाब से सबसे ज्यादा help आपको उस चीज से हुई?
So I was a working professional. So the most challenging part for me was being consistent, because sometimes there were longer working hours, and at the day I didn't feel like I could solve more questions. But when I would open iQuanta portal, वहाँ दिखता था कि बहुत सारे लोग कर रहे हैं बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस. उन लोगों ने आज इतने सारे क्वेश्चंस किए, लोगों ने इस टाइप के सवाल सॉल्व किए. सो दैट गेव मी मोटिवेशन दैट या आई शुड डू, इवन कितना भी हार्ड वर्किंग डे रहा हो, आई नेवर फेल टू अटेम्प्ट सम क्वेश्चंस. सो दैट वाज द थिंग, दैट कंसिस्टेंसी एंड दैट हसल दैट iQuanta builds helped me create to attain this percentile.
Great. Can you tell us how many mocks you gave? आपकी mock और analysis की क्या strategy रही?
So in total, I gave total 67 mocks.
Wow, 67 mocks, guys. That is the amount of rigorous preparation that went behind this 99.76. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So and in analysis, like I didn't, for me, a mock analysis lasted for around 1 or 2 hours. Okay. So it was not like I was spending too much long time because there was so many mocks, and my approach was to take those points from that mock which helped me score more in the next mock. So the things were like methodologies, how to solve, and also to look in what type of questions I was committing most mistakes. Like in VARC, inference based questions were like a grave for me. So I had to look carefully there how to eliminate options. And in quants, I was always searching for shorter methods. So that's how, yeah.
That's great. आपने काफी strategically, tactically इस exam को maneuver किया, right? What was your strongest section and what was your weakest section? And weakest section में आपको help कहाँ से मिली और कैसे मिली?
So strongest section was quants, definitely, and weakest section was like DILR and somewhat VARC. Again, because there were like sometimes I would score less in VARC, sometimes in DILR. So quants again, because if to attain this score, you have to score good in quants. So yeah, so those shortcuts really did help me. And then DILR, I went through like solving more than 150 sets.
Wow.
So that helped me getting acquainted with the types of logics that go in a DILR set. And yeah, again, like for VARC, it was the elimination approach that really helped me.
Okay, let's say you are Ken Miles now. आपका Le Mans रेस चल रहा है. अभी आप finish line तक आए नहीं, right? What do you think is your strategy going ahead into GDPI?
So for GDPI, again, like I would like to have a strategy for this and then work on that. So yeah, in my strategy, first of all, like I was a working professional, and I graduated in electronics and telecommunication and then worked at an electronics firm. So I think the very first question for me would be why MBA? So I am like building up my story. Story is there, but like how to formalize it, I am formalizing it, making it presentable, and then preparing for various current affairs and logic puzzles that might be asked. And so that is it. And also I'm also making up my mind for being spontaneous, because sometimes the questions in GDPI are like it's not always with current affairs or academics or your work ex. Sometimes people are asked like how did you come, how was the fair, like I have seen interviews and like these questions were asked. So you have to be spontaneous.
So man, बहुत सारे platforms हैं. There are several institutes out there. Can you tell us, for the benefit of our viewers, step by step, what is iQuanta's pedagogy?
So for this, I would like to go section wise. So first of all, for VARC, the solutions are spot on. The methodology is spot on. Like one can blindly follow those methodologies to solve those questions. For DILR, there are plethora of sets available. They are like, and solutions for all of them is available. And for quants, many shortcuts are available there. I remember taking screenshots when I was like not able to note down. Like I would suggest like noting down the shortcuts is best way. But if you are not able, if you are someone like suppose in market or something in between another task, take a screenshot of that. Okay? And most of all, this platform itself, because like you don't have to go through some video and like remember at this point this solution was there. You just open the page, go through the solution and read it at your own pace. It saves both data and your time.
Correct. Absolutely. Now let's consider your Ken Miles, right? And this is your Le Mans. You are maybe at the half juncture, right? There is still some throttle remaining.
Yeah.
What is your strategy going into GDPI?
So strategy here would be like like for a guy like me who has done engineering in electronics and telecommunication and then worked in a electronics firm, the major question will be why MBA? So I'm like to I am formalizing my story, how MBA fits in my journey, and then basic certain other things like current affairs, and also like to be spontaneous, because sometimes the questions are like like not logical. Sometimes they would like say, how did you came? What was the fare? Like I've heard like some people were asked questions like this. So one has to be spontaneous for these type of questions. So yeah, like I'm making up myself and also like going through my academics also. So yeah, that is the strategy for this last mile.
Wonderful. I truly hope this last mile will be your best mile, right? Before I let you go today, I'd request you to give your final words of wisdom to our viewers out there so that they can also crack this exam the way you are.
So there are two things basically for CAT or like in fact any other management exam. One is methodology and second is consistency. So for methodology, again iQuanta helps a lot. Like I cannot overemphasize it. And then for consistency, this is again like the major part. Okay. So one has to be consistent. One has to do practice daily. Yeah, those are the two things. Like I would like to everybody to keep in mind while preparing for CAT.
Thank you so much for joining with us today, Mayank. I'm sure the wisdom that you have imparted today is extremely helpful to all our viewers. I know for a fact that this is really going to help them. Right? I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you so much for joining us. अगर आपको ये वीडियो बहुत पसंद आया, अगर आपको लगा है you have gained something from this entire video, please hit that like button, go ahead and subscribe it and share it with your friends. Follow our Facebook page and stay tuned for more such updates with iQuanta.